challenges does Canelo pose once you guys get in there?
I don't know. I just think, his punching power and his physical size is the only thing that I really.
The man must have seen something when he called Canelo out, because you got to remember, bro called Canelo out. So he must see something in order for him to get that win, and he know he can win. So like I said before, it's our job to get into that.
Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford have never been fond of each other, but now it's something different. The tension between them has been growing for months, and today's heated run-in at the airport was just the latest eruption in a rivalry that keeps getting uglier, proving how massive this will be.
Canelo versus Crawford, the biggest fight in the game.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're looking at Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, this is the next thing beyond that.
They didn't fight, not yet, but the way they had to be separated says everything about where this is heading. The incident has the experts talking, so let's get you up to speed.
I have Canelo. Canelo's more comfortable at 168. He's going to fight again for undisputed for a second time at 168. So this is nothing uncomfortable to him. Terence Crawford's a great fighter, and of course we're starting to see that he can probably make 168 naturally. But again, it's a different division. 147, 168, two different divisions.
Canelo has made it clear from the start that he doesn't take Crawford seriously. He doesn't see him as a threat and hasn't hesitated to say so. He's dismissed the idea that Crawford belongs in the ring with him, calling him too small, too unproven at higher weights, and too full of himself after one big win over Errol Spence. One fight doesn't make you great, he has repeated over and over. For Canelo, this is just another day at work. In his mind, Crawford is stepping into a fight he doesn't fully understand, and once they're in the ring, it's going to show.
I don't think it's a fight Canelo really wants, if I'm honest, because I think he feels like he won't get a lot of credit beating a light middleweight. And Crawford's going to move a lot in that fight, which is not ideal for Canelo. But what's his options? I mean, if Bivol wins, he could fight him for undisputed. That's a very tough fight. What's the other options? Benavidez is up at 175. Obviously, His Excellency wants to make that fight, so guess we could see it next.
Crawford, however, sees it differently. He's been waiting for this opportunity. He's studied Canelo for years, noticing the changes, the slower reflexes, the moments of exhaustion in recent fights. He doesn't believe Canelo is the same fighter he once was. He outright said that Canelo has been avoiding real threats, hand-picking fights that make him look good while steering clear of opponents like David Benavidez. Crawford believes he's the one who will expose Canelo, not just beat him, but embarrass him. And after today, the rivalry has only intensified. It's not just talk anymore. Still fuming from their near confrontation, Crawford didn't hold back. I won't let him disrespect me. If he thinks he can intimidate me, he's got another thing coming. There was no promoter beside him, no cameras forcing him to hype the fight, just pure frustration spilling out. He's had enough of Canelo's dismissive attitude, enough of being treated like an outsider in the sport. He wants to make this fight personal, because for him, it already is.
In boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like.
Crawford's move up to 154 lbs was always going to shake up boxing. But now, with a clash against Canelo Alvarez looming, everything has intensified. After becoming a 4-weight world champion by edging out Israel Madrimov last August, Crawford proved he could compete with bigger men. But now he's eyeing an even greater challenge, jumping to 168 to face the undisputed king of the division. At 37, time isn't on his side. This could be one of his final fights, and he knows it. That's why he's making it clear that if he's going out, he's doing it on his own terms, against the biggest name possible.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing.
A lot.
Okay, Madrimov is a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ.
Not everyone thinks it's a bad idea. Shakur Stevenson, who has sparred countless rounds with Crawford, has been one of the loudest voices backing him. He's been saying it for years, even before Crawford himself entertained the idea that Bud's style is a nightmare for Canelo. I always thought that his style versus Canelo, I think he beats Canelo, Stevenson said, doubling down on his belief that Crawford has all the tools to make this a very one-sided fight. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but he can make it easy.
He was able to take a punch at 135, or Tio, once he moved up to 140, they like, oh, he don't punch as hard as he punched at 140. Yeah. But you're moving up in weight, so for me to do it in 3 different weight classes at 27 years old, it just makes it so much better. And I understand the sport of boxing. I understand that at 135, the guys is bigger, stronger, tougher, so they're not able to walk through me. Honestly, if anybody could jump up in weight classes and do it, it's Terence Crawford. I don't know nobody who is mentally as strong as Terence Crawford. So,
It's a bold take, but Stevenson isn't talking just to hype up his friend. He knows what Crawford is capable of in the ring. He's seen his speed, his ability to switch stances effortlessly, and most importantly, his underrated power. I don't think Canelo is walking through his punches. Terence can punch, and that goes for any weight class, he added. That last point is key. Crawford might be smaller, but he's not coming into this fight as some feather-fisted technician looking to survive. He's stepping in believing he can hurt Canelo, and that changes everything.
If they do fight, Cole, how do you see it going?
if they do fight, I told you I think that Bud outboxes him. I think he's going to use his leg, keep Canelo on the outside, and make it an easy night.
Got you.
Dmitry Bivol, the man who already handed Canelo a loss at 175, sees a clear path for Crawford to do the same. But it's not just about skill, it's about how Crawford handles the weight jump. Bivol, speaking from experience, didn't sugarcoat it. He needs to get used to the power and pressure of 168 because it's a big difference. That's the biggest question hanging over this fight. Will Crawford's sharpness, timing, and punching power hold up when facing a naturally bigger, stronger opponent?
First reaction, of course, it was about size of Crawford. Is it okay for him to move up for 2 weight classes? Yeah, and he has very good skill. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but. There is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself on the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills.
Bivol believes it's possible, but warns that physical adaptation alone won't be enough. It's not only about getting used to the power, it's also about being mentally ready, he said. That's something Crawford has never struggled with. He's fought with a chip on his shoulder his whole career, proving people wrong at every turn. But this time, the doubts are louder than ever. The boxing world isn't just questioning his skill. They're questioning his ability to even belong in this fight. If that doesn't fuel him, nothing will.
Favor Canelo or Crawford in the fight? Like, how do you think the fight goes?
It goes Crawford will try to keep on the distance Canelo, but also just to keep Canelo.
David Benavidez, the man many believe should be facing Canelo instead, is watching this fight closely. He sees it as one of the most intriguing matchups in years. This will be a fight for the ages, Benavidez said. Canelo, with his experience, his skills, and his ability to adapt. Crawford with his versatility, his technique, It's got the potential to be an all-time classic.
Crawford throwing his hat in to want to fight Canelo at 168.
I mean, everybody wants to fight Canelo. It's the money fight. You know what I mean? I think even Inoue would come up to fight Canelo. Canelo wanted to fight him. I mean, I don't want to see Crawford to fight Canelo, to be honest with you. But it would be. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great fight. It'd be a great fight. But I feel like if I deserve my opportunity, and and after this fight, what else are they gonna say? You know what I mean? This is a tough fight. You know, the top WBC, the top people ranked at the WBC are fighting each other. So I mean, it should be an easy call. If I can't get those fights, then I'll go up to fight Bivol, or I'll go try to, you know, I set my conquest on 175. Like I said, I don't want no handouts either. I want to, you know, earn my spots everywhere I go, even at 175. But you know, I see that weight class. You know, I want to become champion at 175.
Benavidez understands the contrast in styles better than most. He knows Canelo is a master of controlled aggression, picking his shots and breaking opponents down. But he also respects Crawford's ability to switch between orthodox and southpaw, creating angles and making his opponents miss. It'll be about who can impose their style and who can adapt on the fly, he said. That's what makes this fight so unpredictable. Both men are elite at adjusting, but only one will be able to take control when it matters.
Yeah, I know you said like he could be the guy. What kind of a chance do you ultimately give him?
I think you give him like a 7 out of a 10.
Oh wow, that high! I thought you were going to say like 25.
Yeah, I mean, no,
just because of the size.
Good. Crawford is good, and I think he's been known that he's going to fight Canelo for a long time. And you know, Crawford he likes to pick up the weight, so I'm sure he's been working on the weights for a long time. So, you know, Crawford, when he has with a person that has a big IQ like that, if you do enough weights, you know, and you stay working for a long time, you know, you have a puncher's chance, and you could, you know, you definitely, you know, make the other guy uncomfortable or hurt him a couple times. So, yeah, Crawford is a really good fighter. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if a lot of people are picking that, but obviously your opinion.
For Benavidez, the stakes are personal. He's been chasing a Canelo fight for years, only to be told he wasn't. The right fight at the right time. Now he's watching as Crawford, an outsider to the division, gets the shot he's been waiting for. He knows whoever wins this fight will be the face of boxing, at least for a while, but he also knows he's not far behind. Whoever wins, whether it's Canelo or Crawford, will probably be next in line for big opportunities. But I'm ready, for any of them. I won't back down from any challenge. And there's more. Ryan Garcia's words hit the boxing world like a grenade. He didn't hedge his bets, didn't sugarcoat anything. To him, Terence Crawford has no real shot against. Canelo Alvarez, no debate. Interview 13. No hesitation. Sitting down with AK and Barack on the Ring Champs podcast, Garcia didn't just predict a Canelo victory. He outright dismissed Crawford as a real threat. He can't beat Canelo, Garcia said, shaking his head like it was the most obvious thing in the world. He didn't look that strong against Madrimov, and Madrimov isn't even big. That last part stung. Crawford had edged out Israel Madrimov in his last fight, but Garcia saw nothing there that made him believe Bud had the firepower to move up and hang with a man like Canelo. Size, power, experience. Garcia thinks Canelo has all the advantages, and he made sure to let everyone know.
I think Crawford has the skill and IQ to win. Canelo is too strong, but would go for Bud just for the upset money. But my problem with that take is this. I hate when in a fight, when the physically weaker guy has to rely on their IQ.
But then you have James Toney. The man fought at middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight, and he doesn't see any of that as a problem for Crawford. While Garcia fixates on size, Toney sees skill, and in his opinion, that's where the real difference lies. To him, Crawford isn't just good, he's unbeatable. Easy win, Toney declared when asked about the fight. Easy win, trust, me? That's not the kind of thing you say lightly, especially about a guy like Canelo. But Toney wasn't backing down. Canelo is a good fighter, but he's not on James Toney's level. That line says it all. Toney sees himself in Crawford, a slick, sharp, multi-dimensional fighter who can pick apart even the strongest, most dangerous punchers. If he believes Crawford would win easily, it means he believes Crawford's skill set is simply too advanced for Canelo to handle. He's not worried about size, Not worried about power. He's only looking at who has more tools in the ring, and in his mind, that's Crawford by a landslide. Then, as if the debate wasn't already heated enough, Floyd Mayweather Jr. stepped in and made sure his voice was the loudest. And as always, Mayweather wasn't interested in polite analysis. He went straight for the jugular. "You can take a guy like Canelo," Mayweather said in an interview with Fight Hype, pausing for effect.
Canelo's gonna walk him down. Crawford is gonna do a lot of defense. Now, if he pulls off that win, dude, that's gonna be one of the most biggest, upsets of all time.
Mayweather has never believed that Canelo is all that people say. "I'll tell the truth about Canelo. The guy was easy. A cakewalk. Easy." That wasn't just confidence. That was Mayweather essentially telling the world that Canelo, the undisputed king at 168 lbs, the man who has beaten everyone from GGG to Caleb Plant, was nothing special when he fought him. "You're all praising this dude," Mayweather continued. "He was nothing. I was almost 40 and I cooked this dude. Easy." That was more than just a dig at Canelo. That was Mayweather drawing a direct line from himself to Crawford. Because if he was able to school Canelo at nearly 40, then why wouldn't the younger, fresher, and just as skilled Crawford be able to do the same? Mayweather didn't stop there. He made it clear who he sees as the best fighter alive today. "As of right now, I'd put Terence Crawford as the #1 pound for pound," he stated, and that statement alone carried weight. Mayweather, the undefeated legend who dominated boxing for over 2 decades, was essentially saying, "Canelo's good, but Crawford is better." And if you listen to Mayweather, better beats bigger every single time. However, no one's opinion carries more weight than Sean Porter's regarding this fight because, unlike Garcia, Tony, or even Mayweather, Porter has been in the ring with Crawford. He's felt Bud's power, speed, and skill firsthand, and what he had to say should make anyone betting against Crawford think twice.
A man coming from 147, I know he's a great man. Crawford is a great man and a great warrior. But you come from 147 to put on a better fight than I don't even know what that means. I don't know if that means that Crawford is so great and he can do that, or that means that Charlo set the bar so damn low that any...
Crawford is as good as you think he is, Porter told TalkSport Boxing, his voice carrying the certainty of experience. Then he gave Crawford a compliment that speaks volumes. "I'll tell you what separates him from everybody. He has it physically, he puts in the work, he has all that. But he has an added component of being the strongest and most courageous man I've ever been in the ring with. That's not something you hear often in boxing. Fighters praise each other all the time, but calling someone the strongest and most courageous man you've ever fought is different. It's next level." That's precisely why Porter believes Crawford can beat Canelo. "I do believe he can beat Canelo," he continued, sounding more convinced with every word. "I think it's perfect timing for both of them. I think Canelo has enough miles on the clock that he could break down over 8 to 10 rounds, and it could be Terence's fight. That last part is key. While many view this fight in terms of size, weight, and power, Porter sees something else: timing. Yes, Canelo is a beast at 168 lbs, and yes, he's the undisputed champion, but he has also been through some serious wars, the trilogy with GGG, the grueling loss to Bivol, and fights against Kovalev, Plant, Saunders, and Charlo. All of those battles take a toll, and Porter believes that toll might be enough to tilt this fight in Crawford's favor. Crawford, on the other hand, is coming in fresh. He's not battle-worn, not carrying the same miles. If he can take Canelo into deep waters, push him into the later rounds, and keep making him work, Porter believes that's where Crawford wins this fight. Joe Rogan, meanwhile, isn't buying the idea that Canelo Alvarez has an overwhelming advantage over Terence Crawford. While most of the boxing world is fixated on the weight jump, the UFC commentator is looking at the fight from a different angle. To him, this isn't about size. It's about skill, and Crawford has more than enough of it to handle himself inside the ring. Speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience alongside Antonio Brown, Rogan didn't hesitate to push back against the narrative that Canelo's size would be too much for Crawford. You know why I'm excited? Terence Crawford and Canelo, that's the one. A lot of people think Terence is too small. He weighed in the other day at 185 lbs, Rogan pointed out. That right there is a game changer. People look at Crawford and assume he's a small guy because he's been competing at 147 and 154 lbs. But the reality is, when he's not cutting weight, he walks around much bigger than people think. If he's already naturally touching 185 lbs, then moving up to face Canelo at 168 isn't nearly as drastic as it sounds. Well, he just won the 154 lb title. Before that, he was fighting at welterweight, which is 147 lbs. But it's not like he doesn't have time to put on a little weight, Rogan continued. And that's the key. Crawford isn't rushing into this fight. He's taking his time, allowing his body to naturally adjust. He's not making some reckless jump where he shows up undersized and overmatched. By the time the fight happens, he could be just as strong, just as durable, and just as effective as he's always been. More than anything, though, Rogan knows that boxing isn't just about size, it's about skill. If you ask most boxing purists, Crawford is as complete a fighter as they come. His record speaks for itself, 41-0, 31 knockouts.
I'm going with Terence Crawford, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but
no one has even come close to beating him. And if there's one thing that holds up across all combat sports, it's that elite skill can often neutralize size. The problem for Canelo isn't just that Crawford is skilled, it's that he's different. He's a switch hitter, a master, at controlling distance, a fighter who makes in-ring adjustments better than almost anyone. Against Israel Madrimov, he showed just how adaptable he is, dominating a naturally bigger opponent. Canelo, meanwhile, still has work to do before this fight even happens. He's set to face William Skull on May 3rd, and while most expect him to win, boxing has seen stranger things happen. If he does get through that fight, then the stage is set. Crawford versus Canelo, size versus skill, power versus precision. And according to Rogan, a fight that's far closer than people think. Well, how do you see this going? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.